There are so many questions yet up in the air as we look at these returns so far here in Colorado. And as we've talked about, that 15% threshold means that there is strong support for these four people right here in Colorado, despite Bernie being declared the winner and, of course, Donald Trump being declared the winner on the Republican side. But let's bring in our two panelists here to talk about what are you seeing here as you look at these early returns.
Well, this is really a delegate fight, so it's important for Coloradans to understand that it's not just the raw vote. You apportion delegates not only statewide, but also by congressional districts. So that 15% has to apply everywhere. So you have to be strong all over the state. The strongest candidate probably for the Democrats all over the state would be Bernie Sanders. I think he's pretty strong. What I saw just now in the Secretary of State's data was Michael Bloomberg's winning, right now at least, Pueblo County. And this morning, the Pueblo mayor, Nick Gradisar, was on the Bloomberg bus traveling around to help motivate that vote. So something happened in Pueblo for the Bloomberg folks.
And Kathleen, we've talked about how Pueblo has always been pretty red.
Yeah, Colorado, especially in Pueblo County, went for Donald Trump in the last election. And so it is kind of surprising. Well, he did. Yeah. He actually ended up winning the county, so that's kind of exciting. But I think that that's indicative as to why Donald Trump had his rally down in southern Colorado. So we'll see how it shakes out. Colorado is just one of those fickle states. You just never know.
But what has changed in Pueblo that these numbers would indicate otherwise?
You know, I'm not sure what has changed. I think there is definitely the ideologues are trying to influence them with maybe going more towards the unionization and the things that are happening in Pueblo, the communities that are down there, the larger population of the Hispanics. So we'll see. I think, though, that there is a lot of inroads for Republicans to make down in Pueblo County, but I'm optimistic.
I think the bottom line is that the economic boom we've seen along the Front Range hasn't filtered its way down to Pueblo and southern Colorado yet. And that's really a big part of the dynamic here, is that people need to feel more economic resurgence in Pueblo. And until they do, they're always going to be voting, I think, a little contrary.
Well, shift to Joe Biden. Of course, just in the last 48 hours, this incredible momentum really a lot of people had written that campaign off. But I'm very curious of why, Steve, especially you don't think he has spent any time in Colorado, really any of the Super Tuesday states. Right. I think he had a fundraiser or two here in Colorado, but he didn't hold any events, and I thought that was surprising.
I thought it was more than surprising. I thought it was malpractice. I thought it was really bad politics. And Ken Salazar had an event for him a couple weeks ago. Federico Peña's on board with Joe Biden's campaign. So he's got a lot of support in the Latino community that way, but not to do any events with real people, with the public, where the media can be involved, ask questions, I thought was a little surprising. And I understand the scurry to kind of go raise money and do that, but he needed to do more in Colorado. I think they kind of wrote it off to Sanders, and I suspect they're going to see that result tonight. And the early vote is certainly going to be in play for Sanders. That's what you see in these early results.
And I think a lot of people do talk about the Latino vote in Colorado, and knowing that would be an unknown as to who they would truly support. I think a lot of folks felt like Biden had that you know, under his wing. And is that what these early returns indicate?
Well, not so far. I think Sanders has done a really good job here. He's organized really well there. Joe Salazar, who ran for Attorney General, was his point person here. So I think Joe worked very hard in Colorado. And I think if people would have waited and seen what happened last night in Texas, they might have changed their ballot today. But most votes were already in, unfortunately.